It should be,
Yeah,
but it's not. It should be, but it's not.
I like it.
But I don't think we've introduced you yet. So
alright.
for the people listening, my name is Joker254, and I want to welcome you guys to the 254 Express. And we just played you guys Kablam Tindo EP, which is EP by Boutros. And now we're in studio with a special guest for tonight. So I want him to introduce himself, his names, who he goes by, what he's all about. But let's start with the name. And good evening.
Good evening to everyone listening in from anywhere you are on planet Earth. You know, I keep saying planet Earth because I know this is not just a local show, man. This is global.
People are everywhere, bro. Japan, Brazil, Mexico, Italy.
Hey, shout out to you.
Vancouver.
City, Calgary. What's up? Toronto, Montreal. What's up, man?
But yeah, so what is your name?
So, official government name, I go by Eric Showery.
Okay.
But my self-adapted artist name is The Afrolution.
The Afrolution.
The Afrolution. It's a combination of Afro, Africa, and evolution. So, you know what I mean? Afrolution.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And I'd love to know, who is Afrolution?
So, who is The Afrolution? Well,
you have to say The Afrolution.
The Afrolution.
Okay.
You know, the truth is, I'm getting to a point, a stepping stone where I'm like, maybe I should just drop the, because a lot of people miss the, and they're just like Afrolution.
Yeah.
Maybe that rings better, instead of forcing it, but it's the Afrolution. And the idea is, you know what I mean? I have this crazy idea of creating a subgenre in hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
You know how you have Afro beats, Afro pop. I was thinking of having Afrolution, which is a hip hop subgenre. It's just a crazy.
That's actually dope dream.
Yeah.
And it's so possible.
Yeah.
Because we think, I mean, someone said Afrobeat and they let it happen.
Yeah.
So why can't you say Afrolution and then they make it happen?
Exactly, like a hip hop subgenre. You know what I mean? Because the kind of hip hop I do, the fundamentals are hip hop. Influenced by the U.S., North America kind of hip hop from New York and L.A. kind of thing. But I was thinking, man, there's really no subgenre of African hip hop that I'm familiar with. Different countries have their own subgenres. But I was like, man, I want to do something that's kind of a Kenyan thing. You know what I mean? So it's been a work in progress. Definitely, there's that vision of Afrolution, and then I want it to be known as the Afrolution.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like the Godfather. But honestly, all this came after the fact that I chose the name.
So I have to ask you a question.
Yeah.
A very, very important question that I have to ask.
Sure.
So before it was the Afrolution, what were your other names? Because you did not start at the Afrolution. There was other names. So what is it? Let's talk about the past.
Actually, the only other name I ever used was Eric Showery, but with a SH, SHAWRY, Showery.
SHAW?
Yeah, like Showery.
Okay.
Because my real name is Showery.
Yeah.
CAURI.
Yeah.
But my whole life, I've always had to spell my name. When you go to the bank and they're like...
Especially because of how it's written is not how it's spelled.
It's spelled, so I have to be like, oh, what's your name? Eric Showery, CAURI. I have to start spelling it before they even start writing it because they're going to have to cross whatever they wrote. So I was like, rap name, Eric Showery. And I liked the idea because of the likes of, some of my role models, J. Cole, you know what I mean? Kendrick Lamar. I don't even know if that's his real name, but the idea of using your real name instead of a persona. So I was like, Eric Showery, that one's going to... Because I don't try and... it's not like an alter ego that I have when I do music. I try and be myself.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't need an alter ego. So I'm like, I can just use my name. So initially it was Eric Showery. If you check out my SoundCloud, which I describe as a family album. You know how your mom keeps photos of you when you're a kid?
They don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Someone was on Twitter one day was saying how, for example, like we used to go to people's houses and sit down and look at their albums.
Yeah.
Like I remember going to my auntie's house and we're looking at albums.
Yeah.
We're drinking tea. It's like it was a thing.
Yeah.
Now we look at the phone, but that was a whole an hour worth of activity kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah. And I look at my SoundCloud like that. If you go on my SoundCloud from day one, you'll see the evolution of the Afrolution. It's like, I started off really basic, really amateur. But as the years go, and SoundCloud gives you a nice timeline. It shows you the exact month, the exact year of the music that was uploaded. And you'll see how I've evolved as an artist. So, that was that. When I started off, I was Eric Showery. And then I switched to the Afrolution. then I kind of was confused, and I was using both at the same time, because the Afrolution initially was a collective. It was myself and 3 other homies.
Okay.
And we went as the Afrolution. So it's a group moniker.
Who came up with the name though?
The Afrolution?
Yeah.
I'm not going to take credit for it, but it was definitely a group decision. Maybe I threw it out there, but discussions and guys are like, yeah, let's adopt this.
Okay.
But we agreed as a group with the Afrolution.
So the guys who were in the group, who were in the same group, are any of them making music now?
So none of them are making music now.
Okay.
And that's life. That's life.
That's true.
That was a phase for all of us. But personally, but it was decided for me by fate, I guess, that this was the path I was going to take.
Yes.
But for my other brothers, it's safe to say they're all doing big in the other spheres of influence that they're in. But personally, I'm the one who continued music.
Okay.
And then I'd already dropped so many songs as the Afrolution, so I was like, it's kind of, I'm in too deep right now to start switching. I have to go and create a new page for everything. So I was like, let me just run with the Afrolution.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when would you say, what's your earliest recollection of music?
Man, honestly, I've been involved in music since I was 5 years old. Is my earliest recollection.
Explain. What do you mean at 5 years old? Are you in church, just doing Sanjo Lama, Lama, Lama?
Or my mom wishes I was in church doing that, bro.
Okay, so what were you doing at 5 years old with music?
5 years old, yeah. I was playing the piano. I was learning the piano. So I learned piano theory, doing exams, international piano exams. And 3 times a week, you know what I mean? Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays doing piano classes. And so I grew up playing the piano from 5 years old to about 13. And then I got to, when I was 14.
Were you good? Were you just continuing or were you good?
The thing is, you have to pass the exam to go to the next stage. So I was going up the stages. Was I good? I don't know. But the piano teacher kept telling my mom, this one's talented, this one's talented. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yeah, right.
But he's getting paid.
That's what he says to all the
He's getting paid. Exactly, he needs you guys to keep coming.
That's what he says to all the kids. Oh, this one's talented. Yeah, keep him going.
But could you play stuff by ear, or how good were you with piano?
Yeah, bro. I was playing Beethoven. I was playing Mozart. No, I'm just joking, bro.
Really?
But honestly, I was actually playing the stuff that gets you to that advanced level.
Okay, so I took piano lessons for a few years. It wasn't very serious. But my mom's always like, I took you to learn piano. Now you don't do anything. So for you, for example, you've chosen this now as a passion or a career, whatever it is to you.
Yes, sir.
We're going to learn.
Yeah.
But can you produce? Please tell me you can.
I actually started off doing music producing. I produced for 2-3 years before I ever wrote my first song.
Really?
And the only reason I wrote my first song is because actually I produced for a full year before I ever wrote my first song. The only reason I wrote my first song is because, I'd play my beats for my homies and I'm waiting for that reaction on their face, this is fire.
Yeah.
And it never came. I'm like, wait.
It was fire for you maybe, but for them, they weren't hearing it.
Exactly. So I was like, man, no one's going to buy my beats until I prove that you can do something with it. And so, so I started writing to my own beats. That's actually how I started.
Because honestly, when you're making them, you're hearing them with your ears.
Yeah.
So your ears know what you think
I could see the vision.
Yeah.
I could see the vision of what this beat could be. Other people could not see that. I don't blame them. Rightly so. It actually sucked at first. Mm-hmm. And, I was new.
So now it forced you to learn how to...
Yeah, I was like, I gotta represent for the beat. So I gotta show other people that, you can do something, you know what I mean? So I started writing to my own beats. Mm-hmm. And, it was a work in progress.
What were you using to produce at this time?
FL Studio is what I started with, Fruity Loops.
Okay.
Yeah. And the funny thing, actually, like I told you, I started doing piano from 5 years old to 13. And then I fell in love with soccer. Mm-hmm. So I started playing soccer in high school.
All his life.
And then Saturday was soccer, training or piano lessons. Piano lessons were at 1 p.m. I'm like, man, this am I allowed to curse?
Yes, you can.
I'm like, this shit ain't cool. You know what I mean? Doing piano in the afternoon when all the homies are out in the field playing soccer. So I told my mom, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. So I actually adopted soccer. I fell in love with soccer. I was actually pretty good in soccer. Shout out Strathmore School. You guys know I represented. Shout out NIS. I represented. Shout out Aga Khan Academy. So I was really good in soccer.
How good?
My haters gonna hate, but I was...
How good?
How good?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna blow my own... Facts is facts. I was
captain. What position?
Man, so I was like, I can't think of any player, but I played striker was my main position. I played midfield, and I also played defense. You know what I mean? I also played goalie. I was very versatile. That's why I was like a key member of every team I was in, because the coach could just throw me anywhere and I'd adapt.
So now no more piano. Now you're just a ball guy.
I was just a ball guy. Okay. And I fell in love with ball until a fateful day in 2015. No, it was 2013. I was in year 13 in NIS. And we were actually like in the league playoffs, international league playoffs. And we're playing versus Hillcrest. And there was someone in Hillcrest. No, it was Brookhouse. And there was someone in Brookhouse who, he fouled me. For lack of a better word, he really understood that I was a key player in my team. And he understood if we won that game, then they were out of the league and were moving forward. Anyway, maybe that's not the reason, but the guy fouled me. He fouled me bad, and I had my first real injury ever. I was never injured ever. Until this time I was injured. I felt a pop. I was down. The game stopped for a few minutes until, things were settled. And I couldn't continue the rest of the game, but I was like, this is a simple injury. My coach was like, just rest it, ice it, compress it, extend it, you'll be good. So 6 months later, I'm still on crutches. I've tried getting
6
back.
months.
Yeah, I was
crutches.
And this is even before I ever thought of going to see a doctor, before I even thought of getting an x-ray. I thought this was just something that will heal.
You're on crutches
soon.
for 6 months without going to see a doctor.
Yeah.
What kind of madness is that? What
Bro,
parent gives you crutches and says, figure it out?
It was like, I never had an injury before. I didn't really understand the magnitude of my injury.
Bro, you got the first day.
No. But the league was continuing. Every week there was like 2 games. And every game for 2 weeks, for like the whole 4-6 months, I was trying to get back in the field. And
so seeing a doctor would have been a one-day affair.
That's a good point.
What are you saying? Like,
yeah, bro, I didn't know anything about injuries. So long story short, after a couple days of resting, not playing.
Can you even walk?
I can walk now. Actually, I just, and that's the thing. This injury has never gone away. And I ended up getting an x-ray. They said I needed surgery. I got surgery, did physio for like a month. And you're supposed to do it for a long time.
Yeah.
But I did physio for a month. But by then I decided, man, this injury has, fucked things up. Yeah. So, and it was during that time when I was still in year 13 in high school, when I was on crutches, and my homie Edward Ilaco, shout out Edward Ilaco, formerly Afro Ilaco. We were in a physics class, and the prof was just going off doing his thing, and Edward was on his laptop. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? You should be paying attention. Then he's like, nah, bro, check this out. And then I see he was working on something, a software. I'm like, yo, what are you doing? He's like, I'm making music. I'm like, wait, what? So he shows me Fruity Loops, and I'm like, no way, bro. I mean, I was in love with music. I always listened to music, hip hop, and I'm like, man, I wish I was the guy who made that song. Yeah. I wish I'm the guy who wrote that song. And then my homie is showing me how you can do that. I'm like, that's mad. So that day I got FL Studio. I downloaded it, illegal. I downloaded it and started just working on it. Man, I was in love. And ever since then, I was like,
that night, like the same night you went.
Dude, that same evening. This was like an afternoon class. That same evening, I'd already downloaded it. I'm like, I'm going for it. And ever since then, it was like a passion. So like day to day, I was just working on FL.
So for the people listening, on FL, can you only make beats or can you also record?
Yeah, you can do all that. You can make beats. You
can make a full song. So everything you need is FL.
Everything you need is FL, bro.
Okay.
Yeah. There's other softwares, of course. Every digital.
But to begin.
Yeah.
Okay.
FL is like, from my experience, something like Logic Pro is more user friendly than FL. Mm-hmm. It's simpler because I've used both.
Yeah.
Long story short, I had FL illegally. Then I got a MacBook. Then.
No, Logic is an amazing DAW.
And then Logic is amazing. Yeah. So when I got a MacBook, I got Logic illegally as well.
What?
Expensive. Yo, bro, these things are expensive.
Nah.
Yeah. It's like $400-$500. Okay, $200 to $600 for one of these software, right? So I'm like, man, I was a student. You know what I mean? So I'm not about. My mom doesn't give me money for that kind of thing. So I was like, well, you know what I mean? Yeah. So
now your homie who teaches you to do the Fruity Loops thing,
Afro Ilaco. Yes.
Afro Ilaco. When you go back to school the next day, are you showing him or are you just calm?
Man, I'm learning from him. I'm learning from him. And you know what I mean? A month, 2 months, I've started working on a few beats, some very minimalistic amateur shit.
So who are you showing your beats to?
Pretty much it was just Edward.
Okay.
You know what I mean? He's the one guy, at the time, I wasn't in the music game. He's the one guy that I had these conversations with. So it was just me and him going back and forth.
And now you can't play ball?
I can't play ball. I'm still on
crutches.
There's
no practice. There's no nothing.
Man, I'm watching from the sideline, bro. Every game I'd still go to practice. And then I'd still try, okay? I'd still try. Because I'm on crutches literally for like a 2-week span. And then my leg stops swelling. And I can walk without crutches. So, I have, by this time I have a knee brace. So I'm trying to get back in the field because I think I'm better.
Okay.
And then in the first minute, I get the ball. I try and do something. My leg gives up. So I tore my ACL.
So when do you finally go to see a doctor? So
I got injured in October and I went to get my first x-ray in May the next year.
November, December.
Almost 7 months.
So you go to see the doctor. What did the doctor say?
The x-ray said it all, man. It's like, yo, you fucked up, man. Your leg is messed. The doctor gave me an option. You either get surgery or you just never play ball again. So I was like, well, let me get surgery. It wasn't even play ball. It was like, you either get surgery or you'll always have this issue forever.
Okay.
So I'm like, let me get surgery.
Had you gone sooner, I would have... Okay, I mean, we can't go back in the past, but sorry.
Yeah, sorry, because, Bride, I feel it. You're right. Let me just save you the time. If I had gone sooner, things would be less worse. That's for sure. Because now, in the meantime, all these, times of trying to get back and playing, I was just tearing my meniscus more and more and more. So if I had gotten it checked out sooner, they would have done something sooner. Maybe my surgery would have been more successful.
But to be honest,
yeah.
What happens after high school? Okay, so now you finish high school.
Yeah.
Where do you go?
So when I finished high school, I enrolled into university. I went to University of British Columbia, UBC in Vancouver. Okay. And you know what? The irony is when I was applying to UBC, it was while I was playing soccer. I wanted to go to that uni specifically for the varsity team, the soccer team.
Okay.
I had this vision. I wanted to be a professional soccer player. So I was like, I want to go to this university in Vancouver because Vancouver has a soccer team that's in the MLS.
Yeah.
And instead of trying to go to the UK and then trying to join the Premier League, that's a bit more competitive. Let me go to the MLS. I think I'll stand out better in the MLS than in the Premier League, and then I can work my way up to Champions League kind of vision.
Yeah.
But by the time I'm starting university, I've already said this soccer thing is not going to happen. So, yeah, I had surgery in July, and I was going to university August 28th.
Okay.
So I literally had a month of physio.
And then you left.
And then I left, and I never did physio anymore. And then I tried playing soccer again,
Why?
Bruh. The thing about dreams is you can give up on them, but they never give up on you, bro. So
you get to uni, and then you're trying to play ball again.
I tried playing ball again, then I get hurt again. Then I'm like, okay,
that's nasty.
It. It was. So I'm like, you know what? That's it. I'm not trying to play ball no more. And it's actually in that year, 2014, when I started working on my first, what I'd call an EP. The Afrolution will not be televised. I started working on singles. I actually started taking music really seriously.
On one of your projects, you have a song called Rise.
Yeah.
And then it's UBC. It's such a cute song. I'm like, this guy made a song for his uni. He's like, we're going across the bridge. I'm like,
bro.
This is soft.
Yeah. Oh,
but, so,
yeah.
At what point... so now what point is ball over forever? When do you realize, okay, ball, me, not happening?
This is 2014. This was my first year. Actually, 2014, I'd say October. So this is literally a year after the injury. That's
because now you got to uni in August.
That's right.
So now October, you're done.
And I was already playing because the injury happened in September.
After the surgery.
Yo, bro, I didn't understand. Yo, I didn't have a professional.
You just had a month of physio.
Yeah.
Then you are trying to get back into it after a month.
Because, there's that feeling that
there's no feeling.
I'm like, I'm walking okay. I'm like, I try and do some moves. I'm like, my leg seems okay. And here's the thing. It's not like my injury is I was trying to do a cartwheel or a
See, the problem is you're taking your own advice. You need advice from other people.
There you go, and you're right, man. I never had advice from him. I didn't, yeah. So I was just going off intuition.
And intuition will take you some bad places. Bad places.
Yeah, facts. But when I realized that this soccer thing is not for me and music is the way to go, in end of 2014, around there, November, December, I started actually releasing some songs which were to me they were always good, but to other people, now I started getting some recognition from people like, yo, this music is good. Because that's one thing with UBC. There's a lot of opportunities. There was a lot of open mic opportunities. So I started doing open mics. And
you'd go up to open mics and perform?
Yeah. And, it's
And how do you get that confidence to do that?
There was no confidence at all, bro. This was like sheer just...
vibes.
bravado, bro.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like, fuck it, man. Like...
If you bomb, you bomb.
Exactly. I think that's another feeling I always had. It's like, you can't...
What do people think? How will it react?
I was like, those questions are always on my mind, but it's like, I heard this later, but it applies now. I didn't know this at the time, but you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. So I was like, well, I know I'm going to suck, but I got to get practice. You see, and that's all this comes back to soccer. That's what soccer told me. You just got to practice. You don't have to be the best player to get on the field and practice every day. So I was like, well, this was practice for me. You know what I mean? It's a student thing. It's only other students. It's other amateur performers, people doing spoken word, people singing, doing cover songs. And I'm here doing my own music. I mean, I can't be worse than everyone, if anything. I got to practice sooner or later. So I started practicing. It was always practice to me. So, and I got the opportunity to just open mics. Every week there was an open mic. I'd just go do a song, practice. And you know what I mean? That's still a motto for me. Just practice. Mm-hmm. Practice doesn't make perfect, but perfect practice makes perfect results, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So I'm trying to help me understand something. You were talking about the point where you were putting together like your first EP, for example.
Yeah.
What was that called?
It was called The Afrolution Will Not Be Televised.
Yes.
And it featured, this was still the time when The Afrolution was still a 4-man team. Mm-hmm. So it was myself, Afro Shauri, there was Afro Atari, there was Afro Ilako, and our producer was Afro Cize. Mm-hmm. It was like, how ASAP have their ASAP, whoever.
Yeah.
So that was our thing, Afro someone.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how it started. And I was in Canada at the time, but I came back to Kenya for December holidays for like a month, and this is where we finished it. But I had started, and on that album, I've produced about 3/4 of the songs. About half of the songs I produced them. A quarter of the songs were produced by a legendary producer called Funzo Ku.
Yes.
He's a former producer for Uko Flani Mau Mau.
Okay.
He's like a real old school man. He really believed in us. And the other quarter were produced by my homie who produced this last album I used to do myself. He's called Justin Vinyls, Justin Magesi.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Because I've seen there's 2 new records that you put out, Catch a Vibe, and another one which you worked with.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Justin is a mad producer, bro.
Okay.
And the irony is, actually, I told you, Edward Ilako, Afro Ilako was the first person I worked, who taught me.
Who music. Showed you Fruity Loops, and even how to produce.
Yeah. And then Edward introduced me to Justin. We were in year 12. Justin was in year 11. Mm-hmm. And Justin, man, he's a mad musician. He plays the guitar, the piano. I think he plays, I'm not going to say everything.
At the time or even now?
At the time, yeah. He was actually the teaching assistant to the music teacher at the school, and he was still a student.
And he was below you guys?
He was below us, yeah. So he's about 2 years younger.
Yeah.
But the guy is mad talented. And he was using Fruity Loops before myself and Edward. Mm-hmm. So Edward was like, yo, this guy actually can, teach you something. So I also started learning from Justin, who's younger than me, but much more experienced. And the irony is actually Justin, after I went to university and 2 years later, he finished high school and also came to Vancouver where I was. So
he came to Vancouver.
Small world. I don't know if it's a coincidence or that's.
So is that why you guys were able to collaborate on these last 2 projects?
Facts, man, because we've been together. So we were in Vancouver together, but this last project we were in 2 different cities. But I'd still mission to go and see him. You know what I mean? Because there's nothing better than an in-person studio session.
True.
And we've been working with Justin on this last album. He produced 9 out of 10 of the songs actually.
Oh wow.
Yeah, for sure.
So is K Music involved at all, or how does that work?
So K Music actually. So I came back to Kenya. I had the 10 songs mixed. Mm-hmm. So Justin produced them, and Justin and I did the mixing, and then the mastering. I did some mastering. I wasn't confident in. I'm still new to mastering. Mixing, I've been doing it for a while, but mastering it's a professional job.
Okay.
So I was like, I need professional help. And K Music is a producer who I'm familiar with from a few years back. I've seen him work with the likes of 28s.
That's true.
Actually, we had a studio. before I was like really, just when I was in the game, and I was trying to surround myself with all these people. I attended a studio session at K Music, and he was, working with 28s. So when I came back, the first thing I searched on Google is top 10 music studios in Kenya. That's actually what I Googled. And I got all these. But I don't know how it happened, but I saw K Music has been putting out music on Instagram, and
he puts out a lot of like type beats and different
that's
things.
Right.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. So and K
and
Music,
ads as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. He actually right now K Music is actually working on a movie. He's producing a movie score.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So like he's doing good things. So it just hit me because I came back to Kenya. Before I finished mastering my songs, before I finished mixing everything, all I had was my headphones. I couldn't come with my sound monitors.
That's true.
I'm like, I need a studio.
Yeah, those are heavy. Those are like 25 kgs.
Oh, yeah, bro. I ain't about to spend no excess luggage.
Yeah.
Here, bro. So I was like, you know what? I need a studio. So I was looking for a studio, and I remember, actually, I was reintroduced to K Music by homie Cize.
Okay.
Cize Siani Manga. He's actually a producer and artist as well.
Yes.
So I hit up Siani.
The beatbox.
There you
CZ.
go. Yes. So I hit him up, and I was like, because it sparked, because all these other studios, I was like, honestly, I'd rather have a more personal connection.
That's true.
I don't want to go there just like business. So I was like, I want someone who I can relate to, someone who I kind of have a connection.
It's Cize, Afro Cize. No,
okay. Afro Cize. So that's my homie Buka Wangongu. Shout out Buka. He's man, that guy taught me a lot. He produced a lot of our beats on the first album as well.
Okay.
But no, Cize is different.
Okay.
So actually, like Siani I see a lot of his content as well online. So I hit him up. I'm like, yo, bro, I'm looking for a studio. I know you do this thing. Can I book a studio session? He's like, yeah. How about we link up with my boy? And he reintroduced me to K Music.
Okay.
So that's why I got the reintroduction. And K Music actually mastered some of my songs. And then I also got some of the songs mastered by Supersonic Africa.
Yeah.
And this was after the fact, actually. Actually, I just finished this album last week.
Really?
Actually, what are we?
Was there a plan? Was there a plan to do an album? Like, was that something that like you were planning on doing? Was that in the works, or how did it come about?
Yeah. So like, I used to doubt myself.
Shit.
The original idea was I had these songs in the bank.
They don't know because they don't know the name.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I was like, who the audience?
Yeah.
Oh,
the reason I was because that's anyway. Sorry.
We've built up to it. And here we are. Yeah. So the album is, the original idea was I had all these songs in the bank that I hadn't put out because I doubted myself. I'm like, this shit sucks.
Why?
You know what I mean? Man,
had you played it for anyone, or it was just you with what's in the bank? Because you know, have you ever shown your bank balance to anybody ever?
Oh hell no.
Like no one, like even your mother, you would not show her your bank balance.
Way.
No. Like so, it's like saying, "Hey, look what's in my bank."
Yeah. Some people are like, "Yo, that's a lot."
I don't know.
And you're like, "Man, that's a little."
Yeah.
So that's how I looked at it. I was like, these songs, I doubted them. I was like, man, let me put this aside. Let me not finish it now. I don't feel it yet. You know what I mean? Some songs I had written a verse, I hadn't finished it. Some songs I hadn't finished the production. So there were these songs but I kept hearing them over and over. And I was like, I don't know, there was this feeling that this has to be put out. And the first few songs, it started off as a 5-track.
Because you know when I saw it, I saw songs that I knew.
Yeah.
I saw songs that I knew.
Yeah.
So I was like,
Yeah.
Because some of the songs I've seen, like Free, like Palm Trees.
There's some songs I released as singles. Yeah. And like, they were part of that bank, especially Free. Mm-hmm. Like I wrote Free in 2018. The first original Free I wrote, I think it was in 2018. Okay. It was to a different beat. And then I just doubted myself. I'm like, man, this song sucks, but I love it so much, but it, I don't know why it's...
Why would you tell yourself that it sucks though?
There's this...
Why not let someone else tell you it sucks?
There's this like...
No, because I don't get it.
You don't get it, right? Like there's a filter. You're the first gate of approval. You know what I mean? You have to approve something yourself before you're confident. Once you approve that I like this, I'm going to release it. I don't care what the world says. But it's that first gate that those songs were not passing through. I'm like, I don't approve it. So I'm not even going to test and try and find out if anyone else likes it. So there was a number of those songs, and Free was one of them. And I played Free for Justin, and Justin is like, you know what, yo, I love this song. Let's switch up the beat. And he created a whole new beat with the same lyrics, and then we re-recorded it. Yeah. And that's the Free that's online right now.
Nice.
And that's how this album started. There were 5 songs that...
So you guys kind of meshed in the sense of like you knew what the words you wanted them to sound, and you heard these songs in your head, but you needed a different canvas, and then Justin brings this element of like helping you kind of now find a place where you can a bed for these things, these thoughts and words that are disturbing you.
Yeah. Because like I said, the whole time, man, ever since I went to Canada, I've been doing this music thing solo. I'm a Kenyan, born and raised. And my initial my audience in my mind is a Kenyan audience. So I'm in a foreign country, foreign audience, and I'm doing this thing solo, and I'm my biggest critic. You know what I mean? And
this sucks though.
It's been rough, bro. And I've been telling.
But you're hurting yourself. I feel hard. You have to be more gentle to yourself. Because like imagine how much you're putting on yourself.
Yeah.
It's not fair on any human being.
Trust me, you're not the first to tell me that. and I know, but I don't know, I hold myself to this standard. There's this vision you have of yourself in your head, and that's what it was for me. And and that's how I look at my music. But this album marks a legacy. I mean, not a legacy, but a milestone where I'm like, I used to doubt myself. Now, after, like this album, I had the courage, the confidence to put out these songs, that I've been holding for so long. And there was that feeling that, I just have to just share them and move on. If people like them, it doesn't matter. I like them and I'm moving on to the next thing. And, honestly, you can't get over that feeling overnight. You know what I mean? That doubt, self-doubt, it's a real thing. So
you used to doubt yourself.
Yes,
so can we say now that, is it like now... I have 2 questions. First question is, how did you get to the point where, what did it take for you? What did you have to do to those songs for you to now be able to for them to be good enough for you?
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's always going to be that doubt, but what did it take for you to be more confident? Like, did it take, I'd love to know what it took. Did it take you working with different producers? Did it take you like saying, okay, I want it to sound like this, so I gotta do this different. Like, what did it take?
Honestly, the one thing it took is I had the feedback of other people. So, like I said, I've
that thing you were like blocking out the whole time.
Yeah, exactly, bro. You know what I mean? I went from working in my bedroom, and to working with other people. I used to work with other people collaboratively. You know what I mean? But on like a collaborate, like we start off like, let's collaborate and create something together. But then I started working with people like, this is what I have, and, what can you bring in? And that's where, I started sharing my pre-concepts and my concepts with other people. And people are like, yo, this is actually good, And I'm like, wait, what, really? And they're like, yeah, you know what I mean? Let's do something. And we do something, and the final product is like even better than what I envisioned. And that's where I'm like, yo, so, why was I doubting my potential
even before trying?
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know, man, we live in a world where other people set your standard. You know what I mean? Other people set your standard for what is good music, what is good dressing.
True.
And all that.
But you are dressed nice, I'll be honest.
I'm dressed nice now?
You're dressed very nicely.
Thanks, bro. Bro. I gotta give my my stylist a shout out, Bantu. Check him out at Bantu on Instagram.
Shout out Bantu.
Yeah, he has his own brand. But you know what? Like, and that's where it goes. Like, self-doubt. It's a crippling thing, man. It's crippling. But you get over that by actually getting out of your own head. And
that's hard.
Yeah,
it's hard. It makes sense, but it's hard.
It is
to get out of your own head.
That's right. And honestly,
because sometimes but how do you apply something that you know? Like you can know, but how do you apply?
Yeah, it's not something you can do overnight. That's for sure. It's a skill. You know what I mean? And I always go back to being an athlete, playing soccer. It's practice. It's practice. You gotta do one thing, and that one thing gives you a bit more growth. and it's just this small incremental levels of growth, risk. You got to take a risk as well.
Okay. So, funnily enough, I first heard of you from a friend. What year was this? Before Corona, before COVID. Say COVID's been here for such a long time. Like
COVID's here
until I don't even know what. Like COVID is still here. I don't know. Is it
to stay? Yeah.
Like I don't even know. But I'd say 2019. Her name is Michelle. She went to UBC. She graduated. But she's like, yeah, check out my friend. He has a SoundCloud. And I'm like, okay, whatever.
I know which Michelle. Yeah. Shout out Michelle K.
But like, yeah, K Michelle. But like, you've been doing this for a while. Like you've been really like, you've been putting out as much as you can and doing what you can, despite all of this around you. Like, this, people don't know what we're talking about right now. People don't know.
Yeah.
They've just been seeing you sharing what you can when you're able to, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But like, there's so much that happens internally.
That's right. There's so much behind the scenes, man. There's so much behind the scenes.
Because like, I want to ask you, is music your 9 to 5?
Music is my 5 to 9, man.
Okay, so you have a 9 to 5 so you have a 9 to 9. Your days from 9 to 9.
24 hours, bro.
Nah, there's between like 9 and 9.
Yeah, 9 a.m. and 9 a.m. the next day. You get me?
No, I get you. Like, so what do you do besides music?
So I'm also...
And what did you... Wait, we don't even know what you went to school for. What did you go to school for?
So I went to uni. I studied mining engineering. So
what did you study?
Mining engineering.
Do we need that in Kenya?
Do we need it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we actually do.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm actually sure, man. I'm actually sure. There's a lot of mining going on in Kenya, and most of it is handled by expatriate specialists.
Okay.
Because we don't have our own. In fact, I think when I was applying for uni in 2014, the only other institution that offered anything in mining was a JKUAT in Turkana.
That's sick.
And it was a diploma. And Turkana, because they started extracting oil.
Yeah.
And part of the agreement they had with the international investors was that they have to train local people. So they had a JKUAT.
It's good.
Yeah. Every country where this happens, I mean, you have a handful of countries that have been mining for a minute, Canada.
So you're mining what? Engineer?
That's right, yeah.
Damn.
So...
Is that like hard? Like calculus and all of that stuff? Physics? Wait, you said you met your homie in physics. So you've been doing, like, is it hard?
Yeah, I mean, you know what? It's not hard.
Okay.
It's not
you had
hard.
time to do raps, so it was okay.
Yeah. You know what? I mean...
How are you doing engineering and doing raps?
You got to prioritize in life. I had to compromise a lot. I had to compromise a lot of, like, social experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Hanging out on the weekends or on the nights. Going for parties, going for birthdays, coming home to Kenya. That's one thing I also compromised a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of taking a vacation, I'd spend time working and getting experience. I'd spend time doing summer classes. But for me, my priority was always music. Even when I chose mining, the only reason I chose mining is, in high school, I had an affinity for the sciences. You know what I mean? The arts, geo, history, those things were like just difficult for me. You know what I mean? Literature, Swahili, those things were difficult for me, right? The exam aspect of it, the theory of it all. But, things like physics, chemistry, math, those were simpler for me. So I had an affinity for those. So I was like, well, what do I want to be in life? I thought about it. A lawyer, I'm like, that's not me. Like a doctor, I'm like, that's not me. An engineer, really, that's not me. And I looked, but like the courses I had taken up to the time I was applying to uni were going in that stream. And I'm like, okay, engineering. My dad was an engineer. My brother did engineering. And I was like, well, what does this have to offer for me? It's not that it's genetics or anything, but it was always something in my mind. And I looked at engineering. I'm like, man, all these things are just boring. Electrical, civil, mechanical.
Mining is so random and rare.
I'm telling you, the only mining. Now, one thing. When I was choosing what to study in uni, I'd already decided I love this music thing. I want something that will allow me to do music long term. And when I was looking at mining, some of the benefits of mining, like a lot of mining companies have operations that are just out in the bundus, wild. And they have this kind of like work-life balance where you work a number of days, then you get like days off to relax.
Yeah.
Because a mine is always a 24/7 operation. So you can't have people working 9 to 5. You need people working like 12 hours a day.
My friend works like he He did wind engineering.
Yeah.
So he works like in the Bundus, and they set up like wind. They send up that those things cost millions of dollars and they take forever. But like they'll go to like North Dakota, set up, then they bounce. They'll go to Texas for like months. You do a big job and then you leave.
Yeah.
So like the days are like 12-hour days.
Yeah.
Goes to the Bundus for like 4 days, and he has like 3 days off. Then he's back to Bundus. It's a weird schedule, but
very
it's
weird. It's
not conventional.
It's very unconventional. And I was like, this is perfect for me, because like if I can work 7 days and get 7 days off, or work 2 weeks and get 2 weeks off, or work 1 month and get 1 month off, then I have time to work on music.
Okay.
Most importantly, I have money to invest in music, because like I keep telling, some of my friends, that's one of my motivations. I couldn't afford to be a, the quote unquote struggling artist who's like just out there, just putting in the work and the time and the effort to build that career. Because that's all it takes. It takes time, effort, energy, but it also takes money. You know what I mean?
A lot of money. And then for a lot of artists, they're not making any money from it. So it's hard for them to put any money into it. And so the opportunities are very slim, especially in terms of performances, in terms of shows. So it's not easy at all.
Yeah. And very few artists
Jerry, it's time.
Enough.
Sorry.
Yeah. Very few artists are good enough that someone else is like, I'll invest in you. And you know what? There's not even those many investors out there to cater to all the really good artists.
Of course. Guys rather like build apartments and wash money and do other weird shit than do anything
that's
the arts. Like the arts is not
guaranteed.
Something that these guys consider as like, oh, we should do this.
Yeah. It's a huge risk, man. It's a huge risk. And I've heard so many business people saying music is the hugest risk kind of business. And that's why all these record labels, the big ones, the Sonys and the BMEs, that's why they have such a huge market share. Because like, they're the only ones who are willing to put the risk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I was like, man, I gotta be my number one financier.
So you went to school for that, and then how did that go?
So it went well, man. I was able to, go to school. While I was in school, I was able to get some work experience. So I was able to take time off of school and, make money. And I was using that money to, pay school fees and pay my living accommodation, but also to buy beats online, able to get people to mix and master my songs.
Okay.
And that's when I realized, man, this is expensive. I need to learn how to mix and master my own things.
Is that hard? So now that forced you now to like learn how to produce, how to do that.
Now I was already producing.
I wanted to fix your mic so you can we can see you properly, because it's blocking your face. So she's gonna interrupt you for a second.
All good.
But yeah, or she can frame the camera, whichever one's easier. But like, so you're saying like this helped you, like really now. Did. You're able to buy beats. You're able to invest, as we're talking about, into your craft.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because like, if you want quality, you gotta pay money. Like,
can move it away from his face first. This is funny, so we don't like hurt him. Yeah. But no, find a way, like not without hurting him though. Yeah, like that kind of.
It's all good.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Also, you have a view of me there, eh?
Yeah, but frame the camera way better. It's not framed properly. Sorry. So I can see you. Yeah, and they can see you too. Not just me, but them too.
How does that look?
That's good. Yeah. So
cool.
Now you're getting some money, a little money, that's allowing you to buy beats, to buy equipment, what you need.
Exactly.
Which is what you wanted anyway. You wanted a way to be able to like have a work-life balance and be able to finance your music.
That's right. Yeah. So, and that's what I did. And then I graduated and I was able to get a job. God bless. COVID hit, so the world was.
Are people mining how does COVID affect mining? Tell me that.
The one thing that really changes is commodity prices change. Like, I was in the oil and gas industry, so when COVID hit, oil dropped to negative.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Wait, the way we were fighting for oil here 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, well, now you see, we were fighting for oil here because oil now just shot up and was ultra expensive relatively to what it was.
Okay.
But when COVID hit, oil was cheap and oil prices dropped, which is good for consumers, the guys fueling their motors, but it's not good for the guys producing it. So a lot of people are laid off, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
Like the company I worked for, 50% of the workforce was laid off, which it has never done that. It has never.
So 50% of the workforce was laid off.
That's right. Yeah.
50% of the workforce.
50% of about 3,000 people. So that's a lot.
That's insane.
Yeah, lives changed overnight. And that was one impact. For me, I was waiting for a job. My start date got postponed over and over again. Which was a bad thing because I was like, it changed a lot of my plans. I was supposed to come to Kenya. COVID hit. I haven't been to Kenya for 5 years.
So this is the first time you've been back for a while.
5 years, yeah.
So for some of us, we didn't find out until very, very late. You had something going on this past weekend.
That's right.
What was that?
So this weekend, Saturday, the 23rd of April, last weekend, I had the listening party for the new album, I Used to Doubt Myself.
Okay.
And so I just had a little shindig at my mom's backyard. I looked for venues and I was trying to plan a show literally in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And most of the venues were booked.
Uh-huh.
Others didn't get back to me. I didn't have time to go scouting. I was asking everyone.
That's true. But I saw the setup. It looks really nice.
Hey, man, shout out to the whole team that helped me put
it that looked really nice.
Yes.
How did you do that? How did you pull that off?
I didn't do it myself, man. All I did was...
It was so nice.
Yeah.
And I feel like I heard an MC's voice.
Yeah.
Did you have an MC?
I had an MC. I had a few... It was an open stage. I had a few people who self-employed themselves as MCs.
Okay.
That was the kind of vibe it was. It was like people were having fun.
Okay.
I had a DJ GI.
GI is amazing.
GI was the main DJ for the night. He was like, holding it down.
Mm-hmm.
But I had a couple MCs as well. I think your very own COO.
Yeah, I saw her there.
Sylvie was also, she took up the honor of being MC and like, because there was so many pieces. There were so many pieces in organizing this event that it wasn't fully ready by the day the event started.
Okay.
So I never even thought of having an MC. I didn't think it was necessary.
Mm-hmm.
But, the stage was empty for a while.
You had a whole stage and everything.
Yeah, man.
Who helped you set this up?
Hey, man, I had a big team, man. And here's the
thing. Big them up.
Yeah,
this is the moment for them. Like they put in a lot of work for a long time.
For sure. I'm going to start off with the one person who mainly helped me just figure everything out. And that's my girl.
Okay.
Layla.
Shout out Layla.
Like, I was panicking. I was stressing. I'm trying to do a million things at the same time. And she's like, yo, why don't you just create a Google Docs? I'm like...
What is that? What's a Google Doc?
Like, what do you mean? She's like, yeah, you have all these ideas. Just put them down, put a timeline, put all the costs involved and everything. I'm like, I don't have time to do that. I got to make all these calls. I got to try and organize this and that. And she offered herself to help.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, yeah, I need the help because I'm that kind of guy. I'm like, why would I ask for help for something I can do myself? And that's the thing. I couldn't do everything myself.
That's true.
So, she's the first person I asked for help. I also had an event planner called Wakonyo. I had an event planner called Mweni. I had my homies, Alois and Louis, who helped with the food and bar.
Yeah.
They introduced me to Martin, who's from Nova Sound Entertainment. He actually just put up a big show for, I believe he did a show for, where was it? On Carnivore.
Okay.
Last weekend there was a big Carnivore. Was it Calligraph? Nyashinsky. He actually put up the show for Nyashinsky.
Whoa.
So he came in. I'm like, yo, this is just a small event. And he's like, yeah, that's cool. He helped put up the sound and lighting.
Damn.
I had a whole team, honestly. Shout out my mom. My mom was the biggest help because she provided the venue. You know what I mean? When I was like, I can't find a venue.
Yeah.
I'm like, we have a a backyard. It's big enough. Let's just set everything up. Shout out my neighbors who tolerated the noise.
How loud was it?
Yo, it was loud, bro.
Okay.
It was so loud.
How many
I had
people?
to get a NEMA permit.
Okay.
I had to go talk to the cops in the local station to let them know what going on. How many people? I didn't even keep track of the people, honestly. We sold about 100 tickets.
Okay, that's dope.
But there was more than 100 people because, like, some people just pull up and they're like, yo, you know me. I'm the homie. I'm like, yo, you came all the way to Kiambu. I was like, I started off trying to like break even. I mean, that's ideal. I want to break even. I spent money. I'm like, I want to break even.
True.
By the end of the night, I'm like, just fuck it, man. I just want everyone to come in and
Did you get to perform?
I did, yeah. I got to perform 6 songs off the album.
Okay.
Yeah. And not only that, and that's the thing. So this was called New Era Soul 2.
What did that mean? Because I thought that would be the name of the project, to be honest. So that kind of confused me because I was like, is that the name of the project? I wasn't sure.
Yeah. No, that was not the name of the project. So.
And do you have a Twitter, by the way?
I don't have a Twitter.
That's a problem.
Yeah, that's
Jerry, have you found him on Twitter?
Yeah.
So like, what are we supposed to do about this?
I got the IG.
What is that? You need to get on Twitter.
I feel like I'm like 10 years too late to get on Twitter, right?
It's never too late. Didn't you say you gotta like start?
Touche, bro.
You said that. You literally said that.
Yeah. You know what? You're not the first one to tell me I need a Twitter.
Okay.
I've never actually, had.
So can I put you on the spot?
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
I want you to perform. We don't do this. Yeah, can we perform?
Let's go, bro.
So you said you performed 6 songs at the event.
That's right.
What 6 songs did you perform?
I performed All Right. I performed Molotov. I performed Free, Palm Trees. I performed
do you remember? Were you there?
I performed the interlude, which is called Name This Later.
Okay.
And one more.
Oh my God.
I can't remember the last one.
Thank you, Leila.
But I think maybe you might have a couple.
So I want us to do either Habari or Free.
All right.
I feel like I want to hear Free, but we could do both. Depends on what I don't know how you're feeling, but
hey man, I'll have to perform. I'll do both if you
guys. Sure. Like we don't even get Jerry. Has anyone ever performed? No one ever performs for
real.
Us. No.
Why?
I don't know. Like I don't know. They wouldn't come on radio and just talk to us.
Hey man, I always say one thing. It's better to be prepared and not have an opportunity than to have an opportunity and not be prepared. I walk around with instrumentals on my phone just ready for someone to call me out and say perform.
Really?
Yeah, facts, bro.
That's what that open mic stuff helps you with, for real.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because like you're ready at any time. A lot of people be like, the bag, I don't know, like shit that doesn't matter. Like you want to perform, like I got this thing. And it allows you to work on your craft, and you're always ready.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
And most importantly, when someone calls you out, like, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna be there and like make excuses. Okay. So, yeah, bro.
So do you mind if I connect the speaker so we can also hear you while you're performing? Will that upset you?
No, that will not upset you.
So
it's your show, bro.
The headphones will be all you. So I'm gonna play Free, the performance track. Guys, This is the Afrolution on Radio 254. This is 254 Express. My name is Joker 254, and we're about to see what it's all about.
Let's go.
Let's get it.
Alhamdulillah, feel the love through my body. Stepping out the plane, touchdown in the motherland, Africa, I missed you. 6 years in the making, when I left I was so broke, but now the world is for the taking. So yeah, let's get together, get drunk, stop acting right. Let's pop some bottles, with some models, have a hella night. Safe to say the old me still alive and kicking, but the new me got ambitions to do something different. How about we get together, calculate how we gon' start a fight, ignite a fire that's gonna end corruption overnight. Hey, see the youth, then we've been charged with being the oversight. Light prisms, guard against decisions made against our children and the children of their children. Politicians tricking, got some tricks right up their sleeves, and man, it's sickening. I'm thinking that it's time to choose my voice. Easier said than done, of course, but do I really have a choice? Yeah, cause are we really Yeah, are we really? And are we really free to be we? Free to be we? Yeah, and are we really? Yeah, are we really? Riddle me that. Are we really free to be we? Free to be Mama Africa, I dedicate this verse to you. I'm sorry for the pain and the abuse you've been through. Tears still spilling through the cracks of the earth. Children who were stolen before they were birthed. Raping and pillaging and thefts of your lands. Lives that were lost for the wealth in your hands. Leaders who were murdered for taking a stand. I'm asking, who gon' save you, mama? Who gon' save you? Vijana amkeni na sema santeni. Kwa yote mechofanya siezi taja ni mengi. Mfano wa kwanza, muungano wa vijana. Pamoja kwa umoja, hakuna tuwezi kufanya. So yeah, let's get together, get drunk, stop acting right. Let's pop some bottles with some models, have a hella night. Safe to say the old me still alive and kicking. But the new me got ambitions to do something different. How about we get together, calculate how we gon' start a fire. Ignite a fire that's gon' end corrupt. Hold up, let's rob a bank and end poverty like overnight. Hey, if you got a better plan, dog, I'm with it, aight? Cause only way we live our dreams to go and get it right. So understand, by any means I'm gonna get it. And once I get it, best believe I'll never give it back. And I'ma live to see the day that becomes a fact. Yo, are we really? And are we really? Yes, sir. And are we really free to be we? Free to be we? Yeah. And are we really? Yo, bro, are we really? Hey, sis, are we really free to be we? Free to be we? Yeah. Afro.
So
Yes, sir.
that was Afrolution, and that was Free. How would you doubt yourself? Like, explain to me how you could doubt yourself. Like, I don't get it. I'm Sierewi.
Yeah. In hindsight, I don't get it either.
I'm Sierewi, as in, like, you can perform, you've got confidence, you've got mind, you've got ability. Like, the problem was you were not sharing this shit with people, to be honest. In my opinion, I just met you, but like, I'm gonna say, like, I feel like you're not sharing this with people because there's no way in hell people heard this and said this is bad. You just didn't share it with them.
No one heard it, man. No one heard it. Now, this song is one of the ones I was like, it had a different beat, and it honestly had a more like, it had a different kind of beat, man. It wasn't as slow. It was a bit.
Who made that beat? The first one.
The first one is actually it was Masego. I'm sure you all know of Masego.
Yeah.
So Masego and Medicine had a collaboration project, and there was a song called Sunday.
Okay.
I think it was.
Okay.
And
so was it like a type beat or like an instrumental?
It was someone's. It was a song.
Okay.
It was a song that they put out.
Yeah.
And most of my hesitation was from like, well, if it's a type beat, if it's a beat, I can buy it.
True.
But if I want to use this, first of all, it's not gonna fly on YouTube, because I downloaded it on YouTube, YouTube to mp3.com.
Shout out to that. Heavy.
And second, I'm like, well, you know, I don't want to. Even if I post it, it's like I don't own the rights.
So now you got this version, which you worked with.
Justin Vinyls.
Yes.
So Justin produced this one. Yeah.
And now this is gonna be on the album.
It is.
Now we've been talking about this album, and we're gonna get a chance to play it. But my question is, when does the world hear it? Like, they're hearing it now, but is it ever gonna come out?
So actually, as of this afternoon, noon, April 25th, the album is actually live on my website.
Yes.
theafrolution.net.
Okay.
And the reason it's on my website now and is because like I've uploaded it to my distributor, but it's gonna take a week or two before it's on like the streaming platform.
That's true.
And I'm like, man, this guy's got a chokehold of this industry. Like, you gotta go through them. So I'm like, you know, fuck it, man. I'm just gonna put it on my website.
So if someone wants to listen to it, they can actually go to theafrolution.net.
You can go right now, check it out.
Okay.
It's right there on the homepage. There's a link which will just send you to another page on the same website. And you can listen, you can stream it. And there's also an option to download it. And I set the download as pay what you want.
So $1, $2, $3, $100. What?
Yeah. You can pay $0. Now you see, the thing for me is, I've never done this music thing for the money, man.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I've never done it for the money, and that's not it's key, but it's not important to me. You know, coming back to the idea of having a job and not having to rely on this as an income.
Yeah.
For me, it's growth. What I want is to get my music to people. I know a lot of people don't subscribe to Spotify. I'm an artist. I have an artist page on Spotify, but I don't even subscribe to Spotify.
Question. It's a very serious question, and I don't want to like leave my mind. I want to know something. How do you get better, or how do you challenge yourself? Because I feel as though, yes, you're not doing it for money per se, but like you have to. If you're in the game, you're in the game.
Yeah.
Like you can't be in the game. So like, how do you like compete? How do you challenge? Like, cause I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying. Yeah. And I don't know if this is a good answer. I don't know if I'm answering your question, but Brian trying to compete, man. You know,
you have to.
No.
Yes.
No.
No.
You see, I can answer this question. How do I challenge myself?
Yeah.
You know, when I love music so much, and God willing, inshallah, I'm trying to do this. I'm looking at a 40-year career.
Okay.
So I'm still in the practice stages, in my opinion. You know, part of the reason why I doubt myself, it's still practice for me. I'm not yet where I'm always steps behind where I envision. You know,
but like,
I mean?
okay, let's say Timmy Blanco's over here. Yeah. I know you know who that is, right?
Of course, man. Yeah. I was in primary school with Timmy.
So I'm saying, like, if Timmy's over here, he's like, yo, let me hear something.
Yeah.
You better have something.
Yeah. And that's how I grow. That's how I challenge myself. I'm always working on content.
Like, for example, features.
Yeah.
Do we have features on the album?
On this album, we do. I have a couple features with a homie from Vancouver.
Okay.
With Justin.
Yes.
And then there's one song where Justin is, you know, I'm not even on the song, but Justin is featuring with someone else.
On the album?
On the album, yeah.
How you not on the...
So...
Make it make sense.
Yeah. So the beat came out. Justin sent it to me. I slept on it. And he wrote something. He sent it to me. I slept on it. And then he sent it to a friend of his. He wrote something. Then he sent me what the two of them did. And I'm like, enough said, bro. Like, I don't even need to be on this.
Okay.
Because that's really what the Afrolution was always meant to be. It wasn't a solo thing. It's like, it was always like a movement
So is
thing.
Afrolution you, or is it bigger than you? Or what is it?
It's definitely bigger than me, like I said. Afrolution, you know, the vision is, it's a collective. It's a collective of artists with the same, not just the same sound, but the same purpose, the same agenda, the same message. You know what I mean?
And what does it sound like? What would you define the sound like?
I'd want to say it's the opposite of trap.
Okay.
You know, it's the opposite of trap. So, like, you know, trap is like upbeat and, you know, the content of trap. And this is like more slower beat, you know, heart rate kind of beat.
Yes.
And the content is different.
Is it lovey-dovey? Is it sad? What is it like?
It's all that. It's like, it's not just sad, but it's productive. You know what I mean? It's the kind of music I picture. It's the kind of music you listen to when you're trying to, you know, study. When you're going through some shit and you need some inspiration to get out of a, you know, like a trench in life. When you're going through the lows, you know what I mean? I envision it as something hopeful. You know what I mean? Like when you're going through some shit, like, I don't know, let's say your dad died. You're not going to listen to trap. You probably won't listen to anything. But it's a kind
You should
of
listen
shit.
to like Luther Vandross, Dance with My Father. That shit's sweet.
Now that's the last thing you want to listen to. That's going to make you ball out. You're just going to cry.
But it's okay to cry.
But you want to listen to something that says, you know what? It's going to get better. You're going to get better. You know what I mean? You can pick yourself up. There's hope. You know what I mean? And, you know, it's going to be rough. It's going to suck. But you know what? You're going to get better. You know, listen to that. I always wanted to listen to that kind of stuff. Now, listen, there's music for every occasion. You know, when you're trying to turn up for the weekend, you know what I mean? When you're trying to go to church, you know what I mean? When you're trying to, you know, have some lovey-dovey session with your special person. But, like, I always wanted some music for like those times when like you need some inspiration out of like some real life shit, you know, like a real rut. And so I was like, that's the niche. That's the niche I see.
Can I ask you a weird question?
Yeah.
So I went to the gym this afternoon and I was listening to your music on Apple Music.
Yeah.
In a lot of songs, a recurring theme was I want to buy my mom something. Like I want to buy my mom a Benz. I want to buy my mom a house. Like I almost started I want to buy my mom list. Like this nigga wants to buy his mom a house by the fucking ocean. Yeah. I'm like this nigga's like I'm like literally like I'm listening to all these songs. I'm like this guy's mom is like you really want to spoil your mom, don't you?
Facts, man. Facts.
Like that's like a recurring theme in the music I listened to this afternoon.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm not doing enough for my mother. I'm like this guy wants to do so much. This guy's like,
facts.
Tell me about that. That was so interesting. Like, you know, like guys are like, I'm gonna come to your house. I'm gonna shoot up. This guy's like, nah, I'm buying my mama house by the ocean. Fuck you niggas. I'm buying my mama Benzo. I already told. Like, so talk about that.
So you know, first of all,
I listened.
So funny, like, you know, so the thing for me is, you know, part of my story, really, a story that made me who I am, is I lost my dad to cancer when I was 15, just before my 16th birthday, right? So I've been raised by my mom for the last 7 years as a single parent. And for the first, I mean, I've seen after my dad passed, like life changed for our family, you know? My brother was in uni at the time, so I was the only one at home. So it was just me, my mom, and my sister, my younger sister. So I was forced to step into these pants and be the man of the house, so to speak. And it's not just about, you know, being a man of the house. It's not about being the head of the family. It's about being the foundation. You got to be the one to support the family. I think that's what being a man is about, you know. And I have my mom here. She just lost the love of her life. And she was, you know, she went through some rough stuff. And I was there to witness it. And I saw all this pain, this devastation, and it really forced me to just grow out of my shell. I went from being an adolescent boy.
You're 15.
Yeah. So I went from being an adolescent boy to I was forced to be a man. And I saw my mom go through all this shit. You know, she couldn't sleep. You know, she went through a depression. And I had to be there to witness this. And I was like, damn, man. And I kept praying to God. I'm like, you know, just allow me to just change my mom's life, my sister's life, my family's life. I'll do anything. Yeah. I'll do anything. I'll sacrifice myself, sacrifice my time, my energy. I'll do anything. I just want to change my family's life. And that's really my inspiration. When I was in uni, all I was focused on was just school and music. The only reason I was focused on school is because it helped me maintain my study permit. You have to be in school and you have to pass exams. If you fail and you don't move on to the next year, you lose your visa. So I'm like, okay, I have to take school seriously. And then I also took music seriously because I was like, you know, this is the life I want for myself. And, you know, a lot of sacrifices. But the whole time, my number one motivation was my mom. Okay. I just wanted to change my mom's life.
Does she listen to the music? Does she hear it?
Yeah. It's so funny. My mom actually listens to my music, and I think she might be listening also tonight. Shout out, Mama. I love you. Thank you.
Shout out your mom.
Yeah, and she listens. You know what? The irony is actually that's one of the reasons I actually minimized the cursing on my music. Okay. Because I realized my mom listens to my music for real, right? Yeah. But that's not the main reason. I was like, you know what? I should be able to make some good music that's inclusive of everyone.
And then you can make great music without cussing as well.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, sometimes cursing is inevitable. There's not many ways you can replace certain emotions. Yeah. And some curse words are very, you know what I mean? They're very appropriate. But I was like, it's gotta serve a purpose.
So are you the last born or what are you? The middle child?
I'm the middle child.
You're the middle child.
Yeah, sure.
So I've met Steve.
So
I met Steve. I actually was supposed to meet Steve in Montreal one time because I think he was in school in Montreal.
That's right. Yeah.
And then I met Angie.
Yeah.
That's also you and Angie look more alike than you and Angie look very, very much alike.
Yeah. I hear that a lot.
Yeah, for real. Like you definitely look like Angie a lot.
Yeah. Shout out Steve and Angie.
Yeah. So what kind of music do they listen to? And like, what's like their take on your music? And then you brought a bash home. Like, were they okay with, like, okay, there's 100 people here. Like, what's going on?
You know, not only were they okay, but it was actually their idea to do that.
Okay.
It was my sister and my brother's idea to, you know, why not just do it at home? You know, as kids, you know, we'd have these family occasions where you invited close friends and family. We'd have some chom.
We don't do that anymore. Because of COVID, life, we just stopped doing social stuff. Even outside is still like a new thing again. It's like, do we go outside? Do we not go outside?
Yeah. So like our family was always like, you know, let's do something at home and invite people, you know. And so me, I'm here I'm losing my mind, looking for a venue. I'm checking out Muse, checking out Alchemist, checking out this, checking out that. And I have a week and a half to go, and my brother and my sister like, that was their first suggestion. Why don't you just do it at home? Have something small at home. Mm-hmm. I'm like, that's too small, man. Yo, I got a vision. It's got to be big. You know what I mean? But eventually then I was like...
The decor looked good. The setup looked good. The stage looked good. It looked really nice.
It looked good.
And the lineup was sick as hell too.
It was sick. Shout out all my homies in the industry that pulled up and blessed me with their performances.
Now, I wish you were here longer because I feel like that would mean more collaborations.
Dude,
and I feel like that would be the most interesting thing. Like, it'd be interesting to now, like, bring your growth and like your experience and then like be able to like be out here. Yeah,
that's what I keep saying. I feel such a FOMO when I'm out there. When I'm out there, I'm an outsider.
You're watching.
I'm an outsider. Yeah. Like, I'm part of the industry, but I'm an outsider. You know what I mean? Mm. And when I'm out here, I'm an outsider as well because I'm not around often enough. But every time I come, I hit the ground and I build some networks. I build some connections. But if I was here longer, I definitely would be doing a lot.
Does work allow you to be here longer? Or that's not even possible for now?
Now, you see, that's why I wanted the job I got. Because the job I got, I worked 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off.
Okay.
So...
Are you here like on a 2-weeker?
I was here on a 2-weeker, plus I got a 2-week vacation, plus the 2 other weeks that I'm off. So it added up to 6 weeks.
Okay. That's a long time.
It's good. Yeah. So ideally I can be here every 2 weeks. Okay. It's expensive though.
That's insane.
So I'm like, the only reason I'd come here is if I make it commercial enough that it pays off the expenses of coming here.
True.
And that's the vision.
Okay.
Really. I've always thought Kenya is my audience, and I haven't had the opportunity to explore that. So, you know, now that's the goal. Now I'm like, okay, your life is short. Fuck it, man. I gotta do what it takes to.
I feel like if you could plan well, you could do like videos. You could do you could plan and involve people because you seem to get in your head and confuse shit.
Facts.
But like, I feel like if you planned well, you could do like 4 weeks and do like 4 weeks of music stuff, or do like 2 weeks. Like, find ways. You could people find ways for what they want.
That's right. Yeah.
So you have a track called Habari. What is Habari about?
So Habari is actually it was the last song that I recorded. Now all the songs on this album I recorded, the last one I recorded was in October last year. Mm-hmm. So since October last year to April this year, I was just mixing and mastering stuff. Then in February, this was gonna be a 5-song EP. Then it went to 7 songs, and then it went to 10 songs. It went to 9 songs. And then Habari is a song that I worked on in January, and I was like, it's gotta go on the album. So Habari is the ending to the album. It's the last song, track 10. Okay. But it's actually Habari. It's the greeting to the phase after I doubted myself. So it's like Habari to the new
like
me.
Hi me, like hi to the new me.
And it's like Habari and Kwaheri. It's actually in the song I use Habari and Kwaheri. Okay. So it's Kwaheri to the old me that dies, and Habari to the new me that's gonna continue.
Okay.
The sequel.
I was gonna ask you, do you mind performing this, and then I want us to get into the album. I want us to play the album in its entirety. So I was hoping we could perform Habari and then introduce the album.
Let's go.
And then we play that.
Yeah.
So I'm loving the story behind the person. When I said we're gonna like slow roll it, I meant like we're gonna take time and understand. Okay, who is this person? Who is what is the journey like? So we can better understand you, because like we're hearing the music, but there's so much more we can understand about you, and we're understanding about you. So I think that's super dope.
Bless up, bro.
All right. So this is Habari. You listen to Radio 254. Let's get it.
Let's go. Habari. Kwaheri. Tutakutana tena. Hello. Hello. Welcome to the day you were born, Don't be afraid one they'll be gone and you'll be thrown into a storm. You might drown, you might sink, you might even start to think that this life ain't worth shit. Down with it, pull the motherfucking cord. The curtain between worlds, puppet strings make them curl like a god. B'nai Elohim.